Welcome. I'm Bob Geary, your Commodore. This marks our 75th anniversary celebration, and we have provided, in our view, excellent sailing, excellent competition, and good camaraderie over the last 75 years. The weather has been good, the weather has been bad, but it has been traditional off-soundings weather. We look forward to your continued participation, and we thank you for your support.
The following presentation is made possible through contributions to the OSC John Norcross Fund in recognition of past, present, and future Commodores, and in memory of Bill Ames, Dick Roberts, Elliot Porter Jr., and Walter Strang Jr.
Five, four, three, two, one. 1 minute to warning, third sub up and gun.
You can set your watch by it. Every spring and every fall, there's something in the air that draws sailboats and sailboat racers to the waters off southern New England for a test of skill, perseverance, local knowledge, and just plain old dumbass luck. It's the Off Soundings Club, and for 75 years, its members and guests have competed against Mother Nature and each other. It's a competition that's brought smiles to the faces of many and has tried men's souls with unpredictable weather, changing currents, and fickle winds that blow and don't blow, but always keep you guessing. And then there's the fog and the rain. Over the years, the veterans know that when it comes to off soundings, make sure your foul weather gear is ready and bring along a dry pair of shoes. And then there are the years when the sun shines and the wind blows from the right direction, and suddenly sailboats are up on their bow wake and doing hull speed. The owners are smiling, the helm seems steady, and even the rail meet is happy to be there to enjoy Mother Nature and sailing at its very best. These are the days boats were built for.
Well, I've been racing since 1933, maybe even a little bit before that. And for me to miss an off-soundings race is a sacrilege. You can't do that. If you miss an off-soundings race, there's got to be an awful good reason on why you can't go.
A member since '67, but I crewed for old guys when I was younger than that. Oh, it's a great fun weekend. Oh, we look forward to it every year. We work very hard to get here. Broken down parts, and we throw something together to get us over here.
Ed Purcell here, standing aboard Just Friends, a Pearson Wanderer, and recalling that I went on my first off-soundings race 50 years ago with Bill Ames on Charlie Sturgis's New York 32 Shady Lady. And I always loved getting offshore with some great people who had wonderful skills, great seamanship, and no fear.
Off-soundings actually is a little bit different spin for me because it had a significant impact on my life. I grew up on Sheller Island. I'm known as a hairlegger. And I had a bumboat when I was 14 years old. And it was a 16-foot Sharpie with a 5-horsepower Evinrude on it. I used to drive around and pick the guys up, and I can remember John Lockwood and Bruce Lockwood. I had this little tin cup for quarters, and those were the only guys that would put the quarters in, you know. So it was great. At that age, I was like, you know, someday I want to have one of these boats. And that was had a big impact on my life in terms of my goals and where I was going. And I went to the Maritime Academy, and finally came across this old wooden sloop, Lindy, and you know, saved it from the chainsaw, and been sailing her ever since.
I think that getting away someplace else for the night is good because you have a chance to catch up with people and talk to people. Everybody's not in a hurry to just get back home afterwards. So I think that's a big part of it.
All different people. You get to meet new people. There's over the 20-some years that I've done it, there's young people, old people, and they all compete together. They all work together, and the party like tonight, you know, everybody gets together and stuff and has a good time and stuff. Good place to meet new people.
And I like the parties. You know. Parties are great. They're a good group of people.
Block Island is a pork chop-shaped glacial glob that sits about 15 miles off the coast in Block Island Sound. For some, it's a summer playland, far from the daily grind. For sailors, it can be a place of great beauty and a showcase for the fickleness of Mother Nature. That is the challenge, and that is the reason we go. On a Friday in spring, while everyone else is at work, the Off-Soundings Club gathers in the shadow of stately homes off Watch Hill and prepares to do battle. The race committee's task is not easy. When the morning begins, you just don't know what the day will bring.
Oscar. Yep. Hotel. Sail number, please. 42482. Thank you. So we're going to go to 4 feet. 4 feet. What we got to do is we got to go 14 miles to the southeast, and the wind's supposedly going to be to the southeast. So the course that we have picked is going to be on the southwest corner of Block Island, and we'll come down the west coast of Block Island to 1BI and back to the finish line. Hopefully the wind will stay southeast all day, and that should be a pretty good course. One, mark! Echo down, no puff and gun.
It's spring. It's Block Island Sound. It's off soundings. It seems to happen way too often to make this a favorite spot. But here you are, again, in the fog and the rain. The fog settles in so thick, you drink it, you taste it, you feel it, and you know. The island is still somewhere in the distance. The hoped-for southeasterly breezes held for a while in the spring of 2007, but in the end, Mother Nature once again dismissed any hopes of a fast, dry race. It's times like these when skippers and their crews watch their GPS, draw deep for a reserve of patience, and doggedly fight to keep the boat moving forward. It's a good time to remember the days when Block Island shines like a jewel on the horizon, but not today.
Anything can happen. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, today's a fine example, but then you get these shifts and these puffs and the fog rolls in and life goes on. Make the best of it, and at least now you got GPS, so you don't have to do with the RDF to try to figure out where you are. Years passed and trying to find 1BI, the people who found it and won the race were the ones wwho had a fog opening at the mark, and that's where they are.
I think you got to be ready for anything. You can have 40 knots, you can have 5 knots. You have to be ready for it.
And just when you think you've had enough, you see Bell 4 coming out of the fog at the southwest corner of Block, and what else? The current is flooding, and now your judgment is tested again. Not only to get around the mark in short order, but to ask yourself, what are we doing here?
We actually rounded one BI at about 4:38, and we were praying for a finish there, but
wasn't to be had.
We
wasn't
felt,
to be had
being
today.
the small boat in the class, to make it to the weather mark in touch with the big boats, we were happy with that. After that, it went downhill.
Light and shifty. Had a little trouble with the mark grounding. Part of the day, you know.
I knew we were never going to finish.
How do you feel now at the end of the day?
I feel very happy. I'm dry and not as cold as I was on the water, but I can see at least half a mile.
They're there when usually the bar is about 5 or 5:30, and you can tell that they're salvating before the flags go up. And when the flags go up, you've got to be ready. They are very thirsty, and I would think that a lot of them have worked hard during the day and want to get up there to celebrate. And then they all get involved with their own conversations of what they did, what they didn't do, what they should have done, and it's kind of interesting to be behind. One thing about running the parties is, as Jordy said, and we all agree with the crew, is you get to see everybody and everybody's happy to see you because you're serving them their favorite libations.
The party continues long after the flags go down, and sailors spread out across the island revisiting their favorite haunts and maybe finding a new experience or two. When they finally bed down for the night on their boats, in hotels, or some convenient stretch of beach, they surely all dream of gliding on the wind and sailing into the sun. But it's Block Island, it's spring, and the rain just never goes away. And while those who partied hardy get a few more moments of shut-eye, the stately yacht Nor'easter is out searching for the wind. The pride of Henry B. Dupont IV, it's been a stable and elegant race committee platform for the Off Soundings Club for nearly 3 decades. Completely restored to its original 1926 configuration, it is hard to miss even in pea soup fog. The race committee discusses their options. An erratic northeasterly with squalls forecast means the perennial around the island race is a no-go. Instead, it's up to N, Nebraska Shoal, and back. Soon, the parade begins to the starting area. The refreshed and the bedraggled brace for another day. Another day of, well, the fickleness of Block Island Sound. The course is set. The boats check in. And once again, in rain and fog, we go racing.
A wise course selection, gentlemen. Thank you.
Breeze around 8 knots from the northeast and non-spinnaker 2 is off the line. Eric Hackinson's Decision and Peter Austin Tonnage battling once again at the start. Decision's to windward pacing Tonnage. Bryan Station takes the middle of the line and we're racing. Here's non-spinnaker 1 with Bruce and John Lockwood. Arrow has control of the pin with Dave Kelly on mass transit to leeward with good separation. Ron Levine on Jetstream with Jack Wills. Commodore Bob Geary on Sagacious to windward, and they're moving out. C6 Rusty Nail. Salute with Martha on the bow, looking good. At the gun, Checker Demon at the flag on the pin end, past Commodore Neil O'Connell, showing off the best paint job in the fleet. Tigger 2 leading Park Place in the middle of the line. Showtime, Jollyman, and Euphoria crowd up to windward with Reinhard Sarges on their hip. Doug McDonald on Euphoria takes the windward advantage and starts to leg out on Jollyman. And the battle is on, Nebraska Shoal, 10 miles to the north. Class A shows off the classic wooden boats that are an important part of the club's history and tradition. At the line, it's Rogue, a Newport 29, looking splendid in bright work and brass. The rest of the class chooses the pin end. Spindrift, a Fisher's Island 31, leads the pack, followed by Bill Gunther's Puritan and Bob Reed in Nepenthe. Non-suches, we joke about a 10-degree shift affecting the roast in the oven, but the non-suches turned out 18 strong and fired off the line like collegiate sailors. Jack Lombard and Bearcat aggressively attacks the line. Oops, over by a gray hair. That opens the door for the rest of the class. Trim on, Jack. You're in the lane of opportunity. C5, Crystal Slipper winds up for the start, but Mike O'Brien Shamrock owns the boat end and gets his bow out. Don and Bob Kearns' Fireball takes the right side and lead Pearl and Osprey and Brer Rabbit up the first leg. C4, Nat with Kevin Farrar at helm, is all alone at the gun, at the boat, and probably at the finish. The classic Canning 23, modified and optimized. The rest of the pack chooses the right side, and Elysium leads Baby on Charette and one up. Bill Mortenson's Bad Dog, a J24, is barking at his heels. C4 Sprit Boats featuring Jays and Quests, Rod Johnstone and Scott Young looking for some speed, and everyone's late for the party. They must be on Block Island time. Dragonfly starts to use its waterline to leg out to leeward on Banjo. The Quest 33 Wild Eyes battles with Vominos to weather, and here comes Jerry Keeler in his brand new J109 Sanibel. Hold on, Jerry. C2, Gremlin, Wolverine, Snowbird, and Noonie High take the boat end in the final minute. This should be interesting. Songline slips in to lead them to the line. Don't scratch Nor'easter. Sometimes aggression pays and sometimes it doesn't. OCS for Songlines and Noonie High.
He's on! He's on! He's on!
And Gremlin takes bow out on Team Tonic, and another heart-stopping moment for the Off-Soundings history books. Wings and Wolverine pick up speed, and here comes Bill Keeley in surprise. He liked the boat end too. And Noonie High is clear. The big boys line up in C1 and Jammy Beggars and Hooligan match up. Peter Brinkerhoff at the helm of his Evelyn 41. He's got Beggars hooked. Oh, but too early. They've run out of room and Peter pulls a ripcord and bails out. Baggers has no speed and has to jibe to clear the committee boat. And look who's been freight training from way back. Ragin' Cabbage's Fury with a full head of steam nails the start. And off they rumble with the always dangerous One More Time on her hip. Hooligan doesn't panic. They head off to the right side, tack, and now they settle in for the long fetch up the west coast of Block to Nebraska Shoal. The Hula Bucket, designed by Bob Evelyn in the mid-1980s, has been a perennial champion, and it's no wonder. They cut a pretty picture, don't they? Good enough to be on the cover of any sailing magazine. the small class of multi-hulls wind up for their start. It might be a small class, but they're filled with excitement. Since they started competing, they've been fun to watch and to sail. So, nearly 120 boats off to Nebraska Shoal and back. On a rainy Saturday, the wind stayed in the northeast and the sailors settled in for a 10-mile beat with starboard tack favored. And back on Nor'easter, there's only one thing left to do. Devour one of Henry's famous race committee meals.
You gotta do this. Excuse me. Is that all for you? Who else?
Enjoy those soggy grinders, boys. Up at Nebraska, the wind is going light, but the promised squalls were not far away. Everyone got around 2NS and got ready for a fun-filled tight reach to the finish. The wind stayed on the beam, building, and once again, judgments called into play. Stay with the chute or go with the jib. Either way, nothing better than sailboats pushing the edge and going fast.
Is that guy down here? Right there. Is he a gun then? Yeah.
As the boats approach the finish, the well-fed race committee is back to work, and now they must finish and score everyone and get it right. A dozen classes, a dozen guns, and seconds make the difference.
Well, one of the strong parts of our club has been that we bring the traditional cruising boats as well as the high competition racing boats together on the same race course. The Class A boats have certainly been classic, and they provide, one end of the spectrum of the true cruising boats and really make us an event that's quite different. Today's boats are certainly a different configuration than what we've seen in the past. They're faster, they're more capable, and they really are astounding machines.
I think we have a great mix of boats, both people that are interested in just cruising canvas or non-spinnaker racing, as well as the high-tech boats that have all the latest and greatest racing gear on board. Certainly changed a lot over the years, though. I mean, back when my grandparents did it was gaff rig sloops, and now we're racing far 40s and other fast boats, including trimarans. So yeah, no, I see the gamut of boats for sure.
The competition has gotten more intense. What we're doing is finding that new materials for both boat and sail have made them faster and faster.
It certainly has changed a lot, but still in all, there was a boat that, I don't remember the name of it, I saw at the start, that was maybe 50 years old. It was a wooden boat with North 3DL sails on a boat that's 50 or 75 years old. And it looked gorgeous, and that's the thing, that technology helps. You get a lightweight cloth, reduces the healing moment on boats and makes them more fun to sail. I mean, my wife tells me all the time, you have to embrace technology.
With all different types of boats, the Off Soundings Ratings Committee meets early in the spring to set the classes. Chief Handicapper Paul Jennings gets plenty of help from the board and sets the classes based on PHRF ratings, penalties, and gut instinct on where some boats belong. In the end, the goal is competitive racing.
The classes seem to be divided up really well, so you can sort of try and keep like boats to in like classes, which is a little difficult in some of the perf racing. You get a mix of different boats, sport boats versus regular cruising boats or cruising racing. I think that's really one of the big pluses. I mean, in my class we have, I think, 5 boats all the same rating, then some, after that. So we were all kind of together all the way around the course, and it's just that makes it a lot more fun racing.
We're sailing apples to apples, and luckily the way we've been able to break classes up, apples sail with apples, oranges sail with oranges, and we don't have an orange, we have an apple. Maybe we have a pear, I'm not sure which.
We're getting a higher degree of expertise in the crews and the skippers than formerly. It used to be that it was rare that we would get a really experienced group of racing sailors. And since then, we've got a large number of radically different hull designs and sail rig designs, which have made the boats much faster and have attracted a higher level of expertise, both in crew and skipper, to the racing.
And it would be good to see, more people in the spinnaker classes, but realizing that, geez, we've got a bunch of nonesuches that we've never had before, and that's a great thing. And they can't fly spinnaker, so I guess that's all right. I mean, but if we had 1,000 nonesuches out here, that'd be fine. I think generally the health of the club's good, and I think that we should, continue trying to encourage, spinnaker people to come out and sail with us.
The best part of Off Soundings is that no matter how much fun you thought you had in the spring, you get to do it all over again in the fall. There was a hint of summer in the air as another 12 classes, over 115 boats, gathered off New London Ledge Light to embark on the fall adventure to Gardner's Bay. The wind was steady and the sun was shining, and the ballet of the start was a sight to see. A long line and the need to get left early finds our cameraman Dean on the pinboat with the best seat in the house. With the boats off the line, the next challenge was getting through the race on a flooding current. Most of the fleet held on starboard to tuck in behind Fisher's Island. The tactics was to get far enough south so you could leave Valiant Rock to starboard without being swept back down Long Island Sound. The breeze held and the sun was shining and everyone had a close-up look at Race Rock. And then it was into Gardner's Bay on one of those glorious days when sailboats and sailors understand why we make this experience a part of our lives year after year. The turning mark sent the fleet up to Kroll Shoal on the east side of the bay, where Race Committee Chairman Chuck Charlton shortened the course in a dying breeze so everyone could get to the party on time. That's always important. Greenport has been the home base in the fall for several years and has proven very popular with the sailors.
It's much more of a rough and tumble sailors' town historically, and I think there's something to that.
Everyone finds a convenient spot to kick back, dry off, and relive the day. It is part of the tradition to hook up with old friends and readily make new ones.
So much. We lost everything to everybody.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, one more day of racing, this time on Gardner's Bay. Legend tells of pirates and smugglers who prowled the waters hundreds of years ago. Today, it's going to offer up some of the best racing of the year. For 75 years, the Off Soundings Club has been a community of competitors. Tradition is the benchmark, innovation is the calling card, and camaraderie is the glue that holds it all together. As new boats join the fun, the old boats are still making their mark. 2007 was a good year. Trophies for some, new friends for others, and great experiences for all. It's Off Soundings, and the next experiences are just out there, awaiting the next puff, the next shift, and the next dance with Mother Nature. It's all about good friends applying their sailing skills with no fear. Where else would you rather be?
Finally in focus.